In this video, I'm really excited to share with you Nearpod's Fall 2020 update, and that's the ability to add interactive video content to your lessons. If you watch this channel, you probably already know that I'm a huge fan of Nearpod. I'm not aware of any other programs that are as content-rich as Nearpod, while also offering so many different ways that students can interact with lessons. Their free Google Slides add-on allows teachers to add a wide variety of interactivity tools to your pre-made lessons. And then on their website, Nearpod has so many integrations with different programs that there's literally content for every single subject area and grade level. Now with the ability to add interactive video content to lessons, Nearpod is continuing to build a pretty strong case that it can almost be a one-stop shop app. And of course, since it's Nearpod, they've also just gone above and beyond here. So not only can you bring in YouTube videos and add interactive elements to them, they've also gone back into their own video content library and added interactive questions to those videos as well. And along with this update, Nearpod has also added a ton of their own educational videos to their program that have pre-built-in interactivity elements that you can edit and use as you like. And a personal favorite feature is the fact that you can also upload your own tutorials into Nearpod and add interactivity tools to those as well. So in this video, I can't wait to show you what this interactive video tool in Nearpod is all about. My name is Kary, and this is my YouTube channel for the new EdTech classroom. If you like the tips that I share in this video, you can show your support by hitting the like button, sharing it with other teachers that you know, and subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell to make sure you don't miss any of my weekly updates. All right, let's jump in and take a look at what this interactive video Nearpod update is all about. First, I do just want to say that if you're not familiar with Nearpod, I recommend you check out my introduction to Nearpod video before you watch this video. That will give you a better sense of what you can do in Nearpod. And this tutorial is really just going to be focused on the interactive video update. So let's start off by going to the Nearpod lesson library. At the top, select video, and there you'll see that Nearpod has uploaded a bunch of different educational videos. You can, of course, filter these videos based on subject area and grade level. Then you can select a video and hit preview in order to check it out. At the bottom of the video, you'll notice the blue dots, and those indicate interactive questions that Nearpod has already created for this video. So the basic idea is that if you have interactive mode turned on, when students watch the video, as soon as they arrive to this place in the video, it will trigger a question to pop up that they have to answer. So you can see that this first question is an open-ended question, whereas this second question is a multiple choice question. So let's say that you watch this video and you like the questions and you just want to jump right into presenting it to your students. You can go here and click on Teach, and there you'll see a drop-down menu where you can either present this video in live participation mode, in student pace mode, or in teacher in front of the class mode. The live participation mode implies that you are presenting information on your screen, and then students also all have a computer that they are able to use to answer questions that come up on the video. And then for student pace, that just means that students can do the lessons at their own time. And teacher in front of the class would just be a situation where you are presenting this information in front of your students and they didn't necessarily all have devices. Now that we've looked at some of the educational content that Nearpod has put together and added interactive questions to, now I want to show you some of the other content that you can find on Nearpod that also has interactive questions built into the videos. So let's go back to the Nearpod library, and then I'm going to click on the Publishers tab. Here you can see a bunch of different programs that have created content for Nearpod. So let's go to one of my favorite content creators here, Common Sense. Common Sense is a great resource for digital citizenship lessons. Here you'll notice that if you only have a free subscription to Nearpod, some of the lessons will show up as free, whereas others will require you to pay for them individually. But let's just look at one of these free lessons. So when I click on the video, I'll also see those dots below that indicate that interactive questions have already been built into the video. Now that we've looked at the basics of how this works, I'm also going to show you how you can customize your own questions. So let's go back to the Nearpod originals. This time I'll look for some video content about math. So I'll select this free lesson about geometric shapes here. We can still see our interactive questions popping up at the bottom, but now let's look at how to actually add our own questions as well. So let's say that I get to this place in the video where it's presented some information about angles and I want to add a check for understanding. All you need to do is click Add Activity, and that will allow you to select whether or not you want to add an open-ended question or a multiple choice question. So I'm just going to create a multiple choice question here with some different answer choices. I'll be sure to select which answer choice is correct. And then you'll see that that also shows up as a question that students would need to answer while watching the video. And then you can also click Save, and that will just add that video to your own personal lesson library so that you can assign it from there to students as well. So let's say you want to take it a step further and build out your own lesson within Nearpod that adds interactive video. On your My Lessons page, select Lesson in Nearpod. That will open up the lesson builder that allows you to build in different types of content as well as interactive activities. And again, I show all about this in my other Nearpod video. So let's just say, for example, that I want to build out a lesson here about digital citizenship. First, for the engage part of the lesson, where I'm just going to hook students' interest and also find out more about what they already know, I'm going to quickly just add this collaborate tool here, which functions very similar to a Padlet bulletin board. And I'll have my students answer a preview question about the content that we're going to be studying. Now I'll bring in a follow-up activity where I'm going to have students watch a video about digital citizenship. So here I'll click Add Slide. Then I'm going to search for digital citizenship, see what pops up, take note of the interactive questions and edit them if needed, and then add that slide to my lesson as well. Now let's get to the part that I really love. Let's say that you've also recorded a tutorial overview of this entire lesson in a program like Loom, Screencastify, or Screencast-o-matic. You can also bring that video content in and add interactive features to it as well. So to do that, I'll add another slide. And this time, rather than look for a video that's already in Nearpod, I'm going to upload my own video. You can choose whether or not you pull this file off your own computer or off of Google Drive, for example. And then just like I showed with the geometry video, as soon as you get to a section in your tutorial where you want to add a check for understanding, simply click Add Activity, and that will also allow you to add an open-ended question or a multiple choice question to your tutorial. So for example, at this point of the tutorial, I might be walking through our learning target for the day and talking about keywords. And I might want to add a check for understanding that just makes sure that students understand what that keyword is. And then of course, you'll see after you've selected which answer is correct and added the question, that it will show up as a blue dot below so that students will have to answer that question as they proceed through the video. And then since I want this tutorial to be the first part of the lesson, I'm just going to drag it over so that it's the first slide that students see. I just really love this ability to add checks for understandings to your own video tutorials. And I also just really appreciate that everything in Nearpod is self-contained so that students aren't going to have to go around to a bunch of different sites, and I don't have to worry about link management or document management for that matter. Now let's take just a quick look at what this would actually look like when you're using it with students. Let's look at the live participation mode, which is something you could do in your classroom if your students have devices in front of them, or you could do remotely by presenting on your screen and having students use the interactivity tools on their screens. And of course, just a reminder, you can also set these lessons up to be totally student-paced. So for this live presentation, a student would just enter the class code to get into the lesson, and then the teacher can decide to start the lesson. You'll notice that there's a play button on both of the screens. In this mode, both the teacher and the student could play the video if they wanted. Here though, I'm just going to play the video on the teacher end. Then when the video gets to the check for understanding, you'll be prompted to start the activity, and that will pop the question up on your students' screens. After students answer the question, you'll immediately be able to see how students responded on your screen. Then for the bulletin board activity, students will just post a quick note to the bulletin board. I'm going to set it up here so that I have to moderate the comments before they come through. After students write their answers and I approve them, they'll show up on the board. Now let's look at another way that you could choose to present this video content as well. When you advance to the next slide, you'll see that an option pops up to present the video on all devices or just on your device. If you choose to only present the video on your device, that will pop up a message on student screens notifying them that they need to make sure they're paying attention to their teacher's screen. Then when it arrives at the point where an interactive question comes up, that question will again pop up on the student screen and they can answer it. And in this case, the question is an open-ended question, so students can just type in their response. Once the student has finished, they can hit submit, and then you'll immediately see their answer show up on your screen. Then you can also choose to share responses back with the class by clicking Share Responses. You'll notice after I click it that the response pops up on a student's screen, and then once I click it off, that response goes away. Notice as well that the answer that shows up is anonymous, so this could be a strategy just to show the rest of the class what a good answer would look like. Similarly, once you arrive to the multiple choice question, it will also pop that question up on the student's screen. They can answer it, hit submit, and you'll immediately see all the student responses. Before you end the lesson, it's going to pop up a box asking you to confirm that that's what you want to do. Notice that it also tells you here that you can resume the lesson at any time, so it's okay if your students don't finish this whole lesson in a single class. Even if you haven't closed out the lesson, you'll still be able to pull reports on that lesson by going over to the Reports tab. That's going to allow you to see how all your students responded for each of the elements of the lesson, including how they answered all the interactive questions that were embedded in the video. I love updates that make a program more functional, and this Nearpod update that allows you to add interactive questions to videos definitely achieves that. Not only can you go in and access all kinds of pre-made videos with pre-made interactive questions that you can edit, you can also bring your own videos in from YouTube or videos that you made yourself and add interactive questions to those as well. So I just highly encourage you to get into Nearpod and give this update a try. I think you're going to like it just as much as I do. And if you have any questions about how I use Nearpod for interactive video content, or just about how I use Nearpod in general, please ask in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching my video to the end. If you found the tips that I shared helpful, please share it with other teachers that you know, hit the like button, and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss any of my weekly updates. You can also check out some of the other tutorials I have on my channel by clicking on one of those 2 videos above. And if you're interested in downloading any of the resources that I've created and show on my videos, please visit my website at www.newedtechclassroom.com. Lastly, if you want to check me out on social media, my Twitter handle, Facebook page, and Pinterest account are all in the description below. Thanks so much and have a great week.